All right, so attendees should now be trickling in, and whenever you two are ready.
Hey, good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Kyle. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. I don't know if anybody's in here or what's supposed to happen, but that's John Pomp.
And it's like the Brady Bunch. You're in the other square.
Yeah, I think you
Kyle
got to
Bunting.
mirror it. I think you got to point the other direction.
Oh, okay, I'm this way.
Yeah,
Good
for
to
sure.
see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, likewise. Been a while as well. I don't know if anybody's in here, but hey, you want to go ahead and start talking about some of this stuff? I got a couple of thoughts I wanted to share, and maybe I'll ask you, and you can tell me what happened in your end.
There's a lot to talk about. A lot's happened. So, no, absolutely. This is just a great opportunity. Again, I don't know who's here, but it doesn't matter. It's great that we're here, and we haven't caught up in a while. I usually get to see you a couple times a year, and we go back a ways. But tell me a little bit. We haven't talked too much during the past several months, but let's talk about how difficult it's been for both of us, or all of us, and the designers and just everybody.
Sure.
And the certain different challenges that we both faced, Kyle.
Hey, John, I got to tell you, I was thinking about this ahead of time. It's kind of this whole idea, like running these kind of maker businesses in the midst of a crisis, right? Like, what did you do? And, we work with designers. I think that for us, we had some interesting things related to distribution we had to deal with. Like, how did we, manage our relationship with continuing to have customers? And we had some staffing issues that were kind of interesting to limp through. And we had some supply chain stuff that was really complicated because we do a lot of work overseas. Yeah. And then we just kind of had customer support issues, I think. Those were kind of the big ones for us. Tell me, let me try to do this for you, and then maybe you can do it for me. But I think you're still in the multi-line world where I'm an independent brand now. What was it like during all this to try to support, your channel and the customers and everything that was happening? It had to be very different for you than it was for us.
Yeah, for sure. And, like Kyle said, I sit inside a lot of multi-line showrooms around the country. And so a lot of the communication and the outreach and through all of our designers are through the showrooms. And obviously they faced a lot of challenges just like all of us, and not even being physically open. So it's been quite challenging. So I think for me, it's being able to, during this time, we really all had to get inside the matrix, quite literally, and build these creative digital worlds for ourselves and spaces that we are individual ones and the ones that we share. But for the showrooms, it's really taking an extraordinary amount of communication on our end. And to be honest with you, some of the things that we started to do is really pivot really quickly and move really quickly to realize that, some of the showrooms just aren't going to be open. And so the way that the clients interface with us isn't going to be the same. And what we've been finding really quickly, what we anticipated, is that they were going to be reaching out to us directly a lot. And so we needed to set up systems to be able to handle that. So one of them was really quickly developing and designing and implementing changes on our website that supported a lot of 24-hour quoting, turnaround times, and immediate access to information so clients that were shopping, working, designing could really get the information they needed as quickly as they could directly from us, should they want to just reach out and kind of connect with us. So that was one big initiative that we took on that was a little bit probably different from you, having a lot of your communication already established directly. Is that correct, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was a completely different bear, right? Designers, we were in the multi-line showroom network for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Working with some of the same companies that still represent your line. And so, that process is designer calls or goes to the showroom, starts a relationship with a rep.
Yep.
Showroom contacts manufacturer, gets some details, communicates it back to the designer.
Right.
We, we left that environment and became a direct brand where we work with designers direct, like a little over a year ago. And the good news for us was it was a really easy transition because, like in design, everything's custom. And really,
Sure.
it's just the same. It's just the same product you make with some different finishes.
Right.
When it's really custom, when they're like, make this thing you've never done before, right? We had a long relationship with our showroom partners that people would call and say they want to make this thing, and can they just call you so you can get all the details and then tell us what to
Yeah.
tell them? And we found that having made that move, it really made that move over a year ago. We were frankly, John, in a really good place when this hit to be prepared for going straight to the designers, get exactly what they want, and helping them maintain the business that they were doing with us, which was, knock on wood, a real benefit for us.
Sure, that's really good timing. I imagine if you were kind of only a few months into it, or the change and the switchover, it might have been a lot more challenging, right?
It would have been a lot more arduous. Yeah, we'd have been really freaking out. I sometimes like to joke that, we're in Austin and we like to kind of sometimes say we're like the least COVID affected company in the design business because, we were prepared. We have a big facility. We have a lot of remote workers already. So we were kind of set up for this kind of disaster, kind of like Walmart, I guess. We were ready for trauma. I want to ask you about yours after I tell you a little bit about my experience. But what really caught us flat-footed and was really a challenge was issues in our supply chain. So we use some materials, some of which are made in the U.S. that just had delays through the channel for them to manufacture products we use. But the majority of my raw material is Italian. So we use all Italian leathers that come from Northern Italy. And if you remember when this all hit, Italy was just hammered.
Oh,
and so we were really kind of like, okay, well, I know you think you want to install that in June, but that building in New York's not letting you in June, and I can't even get the weather. So I think what you said about digital infrastructure systems to kind of manage information, well, we don't have that available yet online for our clients, but to be able to call them and say, here's exactly what phase of the process where your product is, so they knew it was still happening, was a real big deal for us to have that insight. What about you? Did you find plenty of metal and glass during all this?
Fortunately and unfortunately, we all need a little luck once in a while. So right before the total shutdown quarantine, we had a huge shipment of glass. And now I melt crystal glass. Okay. So it's actually not glass. So it's actually a quartz-based material. Okay. So it is actual crystal, but it is shipped in from Europe, the raw materials. Now, what's different for us, again, we melt our own glass. So in essence, we are really making our own raw material, which is unique, but we still consume raw materials. But we got a huge shipment of it right before the shutdown. So we had a lot to kind of get us through, knock on wood. So we all could use a little luck now. And what we did right when all of it happened too, we immediately moved quickly right at the beginning of the line for all consumables. Anything that we felt was going to be really difficult to get our hands on, that are the lifelines of our business, like glass, of course. And we secured it right away, literally within the first week when this is going on, because, you know, I'm kind of the guy who plans for the worst and hopes for the best. And I'm pretty good with that. So we secured all that as far as supply chain goes for the glass. We were fortunate enough with the metal. We have a metal manufacturing facility. I guess some of you might not know. For those who don't know, I'm John Pomp. I'm a glass blower of 25 years, but I think I've been saying that for 5 years now. We are a artisan manufacturer of furniture and lighting that is glass centric. So we process all of our materials inside of our facility here. Kyle, you know this. So we consume all of our own parts. So we're obviously making metal, glass, and processing wood. And we don't outsource any parts of our processes. So in a lot of ways, we were really insulated as long as we could get the raw material supplies. We were pretty good all in all.
That's interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
No, and that's it. So that's, as far as supply chain goes, that's kind of like my backstory and how it kind of worked for us. We were pretty insulated in that way. And then how about you? And maybe some of everybody knows who you are, but you should maybe just tell them a little bit about yourself as well.
Well, I could say that, but what I would do is I'm going to tell you that and, you know, pivot a little bit to some interesting things that happened and kind of staffing and trying to keep working through this, because I think it was interesting maybe for people to learn about. I'm Kyle Bunting, and our company is in Austin, Texas, and we make decorative hide carpets, wall coverings, and we sell hide upholstery. We're kind of a one-trick pony. I know that's a bad joke, but we're exclusive to hide in what we do, and we've been doing it for next year. We're going on our 20th year, so we're pretty excited about, you know, what we do. About 30 people, and we make carpets and wall coverings for designers all around the world, and some end users too that want to pay list and, you know, work with us. But what was interesting, John, is we kind of do three things here. You know, we design stuff and we sell it to people and we make it, right? It's kind of simple. But where we make it was where it got really interesting, because we bring in leather and we cut it, and then we hand assemble our product, and then we detail it and finish it and photograph it and ship it. I mean, that's what happens in production. It's very simple. But because we were dealing with leather coming in at different times, and because of COVID, we had people working really peculiar schedules and like cutting at different times of the night and on weekends.
Staggering,
and I'm real lucky, kind of like you probably. I have my studio is about 14,000 feet, and we have like 12 people in our production group. So like to have 3 people in there, you know, working. You remember when everybody was all freaked out about it? You now know that if you had a mask and you're on the other side of the room, you're pretty safe, right? Yeah. And we were working around that, and the most interesting thing was looking at the city, county, and the state and federal laws, like different rules. Like somebody said you could do this, and somebody said you can't do that, and of course you were just trying to find the one that let you do the most. And, we were real lucky. We were able to work on the things we had in process and finish them, and about the time we ran through all that work, they lifted the restriction on manufacturing, and we just
slid right into it.
Went back to full throttle, and it was serendipitous. Like I said earlier, John, we kind of went through this pretty smooth, and I think it was because we were set up to be flexible and very customer centric, and a little bit of luck, like you in thinking for the worst. I don't think for the worst. I never prepare for that. I just go to hardcore. But we've kind of grown through it a little bit, and been fortunate. What about you? What was it like up in Philly?
You know, for us, we were one of the states that closed the longest. So, you know, what I'll say in general about kind of like this time, which I should preface, is that, you know, I think us being creatives, you know, I'm just all about questioning everything and thinking differently. And risk taking are all those things that we all do, and even our designers, right? being in the creative industry. And I think that, I'll be honest with you, I mean, this hasn't been a picnic, but to be honest with you, I kind of like, it's a comfortable place for me. Like, I ride motorcycles, I surf, you know, I skateboard still at this age, and and creative risk taking. So being able to kind of like get into the business space of like, you know, creative risk taking is my comfort zone. So I'm good with it. And also just like, man, you know what? There were some things that we could do better or differently that are actually really good. So I really use this opportunity as a whole to like make a lot of changes in a lot of different areas of the business and even myself creatively. And I think my goal, I keep telling myself, I'm like, you know what? Like when you look back, what are you going to be most proud of what you did at this time? Because when I started my business in New York City, and I was up in New York for 10 years, and I was up there during 9/11 and, you know, and 2008, like, you know, so we've all kind of had our different experiences, but like for us to have like, to look back some of the best moves that I've made and a lot of the growth that's happened like as a business person and a creative is really during the toughest times. Not always fun, but you know, those are in general, that's kind of like the approach. But what I'll tell you about the challenges with, you know, definitely we luckily, I'll talk about kind of capacity, and you were talking a little bit about space.
Yeah.
You know, I just moved earlier this year, I just moved into a 60,000 square foot manufacturing facility. So, which is great, which is good in terms of I have a lot of space for everybody because everybody has a couple thousand square feet, much like you. But I have a lot of space that I don't need, but it's actually planned for the years to come too, to fill in. So it was very fortuitous that we have a lot of space so we could really set up our staff in a very honest and safe way. It was difficult to kind of deal with what the city, the state, and federal was all telling all of us, and to kind of parse through it. And once we all kind of wrapped our heads around it, I think it's really just about definitely like following the law. But in the end, like, okay, I get the gist of this. I get how to protect all of us and our family and our community. So space was
that's what it felt like
fun.
for us too.
What's
It
that?
felt like that for us too. Like by the time you kind of took it, it's like I think the parallel is like running a business is like when you get all the variables on the table, you kind of weed it out and say, this is how we're going to do it. That'll work best. And we're educated enough. And we're just going to make a smart decision. If you're like, it says you have to this and this and this and this and this, those guidelines are to help you make a smart decision, not to tell you exactly what to do. And we haven't had, you know, again, knock on wood, we haven't had any cases at all, and we've been very, very lucky in that. And you know, so far so good. You know?
Yeah, same with us. And one thing that I'll say for us is I have a really huge glassmaking facility, and I put in so much good ventilation because by process we have like 8 furnaces that burn at 2,000 degrees, 3,000 degrees, 24 hours a day. So it's just hot in here. So when we built the facility, I spec'd it for really good ventilation. So another like little luck on my end, we're really well ventilated too, which is really cool. And I think that's kind of, it also just in the very early on, it gave everybody all that comfort, having us being able to have that space, have the ventilation, and feeling like, you know, we can kind of parse through the information and do the right thing and keep us all working, keep us all safe.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm just going to echo that. I think we had I mean, I think this is like an extraordinary opportunity, right? I mean, it's awful. In all ways, this is terrible, right? But, you know, when these things happen, they kind of force you to look at things a little bit differently. And I don't think some of the innovation and some of the effort and the sense of community with the company would have been what it is now without having to have gone through this together. And
Sure.
we're working better, we're communicating better, we're tighter. I joked that unfortunately one of the layoffs we had was a person that was kind of an accounting and HR person in the company,
Uh-huh.
and we haven't really needed an HR person necessarily after, because like just the conflict or like issues
Yeah.
are, yeah, everybody's really partnering, and we still need that. Don't get me wrong, but it hasn't
Yeah.
been like there's a bunch of like issues. Everybody's really, worked through their own things and partnered, and we've been strong. So, hey, John, I think we only have a little bit of time. Let me do this. There's a couple of
Sure.
questions on here. I'm
Yeah.
going to open one up. There's a few of them. The first one is from Mary Friesen, and she says, you guys are talking about showrooms. What kind of showrooms? John, you want to take a shot at that since you're still in the showroom world and talk about that, and then I
Yeah.
may comment.
Sure. There's a lot of different furniture. We're a to the trade business. Myself, I am. And there are furniture showrooms around the country, physical ones, where we designers can kind of go in and specify and touch, feel, and see product and specify them for their homes of their clients.
And those showrooms are typically inside like design centers in the major metropolitan areas, and I guess
Right.
David Sutherland, Holly Hunt, the Rudins,
Sure.
all these people kind of run these big facilities that have different lines. That's the world I used to be in, where you and I met, being
Yeah,
our lines being represented by some of the same showroom partners.
yeah, that's correct. But yes, so those are the multi-line showrooms that we were speaking of.
We got another question from Mary Friesen, and she
Okay.
says, man, she's in your world and mine as a
Okay.
custom
Let's see.
tile maker. So the stuff
Okay.
is
Oh,
hard,
cool.
but it's like mosaic, which is what I do.
Yeah.
And due to COVID, how do I seek out, new clients? And I think that's pretty interesting. John, you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, it's doing what we're doing right now is finding ways digitally to connect with one another. I wish we could physically be together, but at some point we will. But for now, and we're all learning how to do this. Like we're all getting used to Zooms.
Yeah, right.
We're getting better at it, and I think for us, we're reaching out a little bit more on all of our social media platforms. It's the kind of the way of the world now, and from us, I'll say that one of our things that we did during this shutdown and was put together a video production team. So we call it the John Pomp AV Club here, and but something that we didn't have in place, and where we got some like good photography, good cameras, sets. I'm sitting in one of my sets right now, beautifully lit, and our product, and just finding ways to connect with our clients via Zoom. I do Zoom tours of my facility with the AV Club here, and also and we shoot three-dimensional video. So we do three-dimensional walk-around gallery views of each of our pieces, and we post them on our website as well, so people can really get the experience of at least feeling like they can feel and touch the pieces and really get a sense of what it feels like to be there with them. At least that's what I've done. And how about for you? I mean, you're great with your outreach, Kyle.
We have invested for a long time in photography. We've had a staff photographer for as long as I can remember. But I think, clearly digitally promoting yourself is super important, right? But I think that, John, we really felt similar to you, that video and like creating these in-house assets so that you can lever them and show as many people as possible. My encouragement for the person asking the question is, your passion for being in the business and creating a beautiful product got you in the game, right?
Yeah.
And the most efficient way to distribute what you can do is to show people digitally but then be prepared that when they reach out to you to like professionally send them some materials, get them an estimate, and have a sample where they can really touch it and know what it costs and how long it'll take to get it so they can actually do business with you. That's what designers expect to see. You want to be in this game, you need to, John would be the first to tell you, this is how much a table costs, and here's the material samples, and it's going to take 8 weeks. So that's the deal. And give me the money now, and then we make it, and then when we're ready to send it, you give me the other part of the money, and then we're all good. I mean, that's how the business kind of works. And so I'd really encourage you to think about promoting yourself as efficiently as possible and show people what you do, but then be prepared to execute on that when it comes back through. Let me see if there's anything else. We have another. Does the COVID experience change your view about target planning? Any thoughts on that, John?
Oh gosh, the COVID experience changed all of it about all types of planning. Not for, yes, I can't say for, it does. I think it's just about doing it a little, everything's about, we can do the same things. It's just doing them differently and all these different kind of workarounds. Nothing really noteworthy for me on my end, but I'll throw it right back to you, Kyle. How about for yourself and your team?
We're just running as fast as we can on the treadmill and trying to close as much. We're looking about tomorrow as much as we are, 6 months from now. John, I think we're kind of out of time. I just want to say bye to everybody in case we get zapped.
Oh, already? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, hey, good to see you. And thank you so much to the Foyr team for having us. And it's just great to be able to talk to you and see you and everybody who joined us. I appreciate it.
And this is a kick. We've talked once on the phone, but to see that handsome mug of yours is great. Good to see you.
Next time it'll be beers in person.
Thanks, everybody, for having us.
Thank
really
you
great.
two so much. I loved this conversation. Thank you for your time, and everyone who's attending. We have another panel or another session coming up right after this, all about wellness. So we will see you there. Link is in the chat. Thank you so much again, Kyle and John, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Be well. Be safe.
Thanks, Johnny.